Maybe the person you called your twin flame was never sent to complete you. Maybe they were sent to expose the part of you that had been waiting to be rescued. And I know that may be difficult to hear, because for a long time, this connection may have been the only thing that made your pain feel meaningful. You waited for a message. You searched for signs. You called the silence divine timing. You told yourself, this is not ordinary love. This is sacred. This is different. This is written somewhere beyond this world. And perhaps, in some way, it was different. Perhaps the connection truly did open something inside you that no ordinary relationship had ever touched. Perhaps the first meeting felt familiar in a way you could not explain. Perhaps their voice, their eyes, their energy, their presence, seemed to reach into a place in you that had been asleep for years. And suddenly, your whole inner world changed. You were no longer simply attracted to someone. You were pulled. You were no longer simply missing someone. You were aching. You were no longer simply hoping for love. You were waiting for what felt like your soul's missing piece to return. But by the end of this message, you may understand something that changes everything. The connection may have been real. The awakening may have been real. The love you felt may have been real. But the suffering was never meant to be your home. Pain is not proof. Chaos is not chemistry. Longing is not destiny. And silence is not always a spiritual sign. Sometimes, silence is simply silence. Sometimes, distance is simply distance. Sometimes, a person's inability to meet you does not mean they are running from a divine connection. Sometimes, it means they are not able, not willing, or not healed enough to stand inside love with honesty. And this is where the soul begins to grow up. Because the twin flame story, for many people, begins as comfort. It gives a name to the impossible feeling. It tells you that the intensity has a purpose. It tells you that the push and pull is part of a sacred journey. It tells you that the person who keeps disappearing is not abandoning you, but being triggered by the depth of the bond. And when you are hurting, that explanation can feel like medicine. It can make the waiting feel noble. It can make the obsession feel spiritual. It can make the heartbreak feel chosen. But slowly, if you are honest with yourself, a deeper question begins to rise. If this love is sacred, why does it keep making me lose myself? If this bond is divine, why does my nervous system feel unsafe? If this person is my mirror, why am I the only one doing the work? And that question is not a betrayal of the connection. It is the beginning of your awakening. Because the soul does not awaken only through beautiful things. Sometimes it awakens through confusion, through loss, through the ache of loving someone who cannot love you with the consistency your heart deserves, through the exhaustion of calling something divine when deep down, your body knows it is hurting you. This does not mean the connection was meaningless. Please hear that carefully. You do not have to throw away the entire experience in order to heal from it. You do not have to call yourself foolish. You do not have to pretend it was just an ordinary attraction. You do not have to deny the dreams, the signs, the strange timing, the feeling that something invisible was moving between you. The recognition was real. But recognition is not always a command to stay. Sometimes recognition means, this person is carrying a mirror. Sometimes it means, this person is showing you your unhealed wound. Sometimes it means, this person has awakened a part of you that you must now learn to live without needing them beside you. That is the part most people are not prepared for. Because when someone awakens your soul, you naturally believe you need that person in order to keep the awakening alive. You think, I only feel this deep, this open, this alive, because of them. But what if they did not create that depth? What if they only revealed it? What if the feeling you thought belonged to them was actually your own soul rising to the surface? You were not just missing them. You were missing the version of yourself that seemed to appear when they were near. The softer version. The freer version. The more passionate version. The version who believed in magic again. The version who felt chosen by life. And because that version seemed to awaken through them, You began to believe they were the source. But they were not the source. They were the mirror. The source was always inside you. In Jungian psychology, there is an idea called projection. It means that we can unconsciously place our own hidden qualities, desires, wounds, and soul images onto another person. We do not do this because we are weak. We do it because the unconscious speaks through symbols. It shows us what we have not yet claimed by letting us see it outside ourselves first. So when someone appears and carries the energy of your unlived life, the soul reacts powerfully. You may see freedom in them, because your own freedom has been buried. You may see mystery in them, because your own inner world has been ignored. You may see strength in them, because your own strength has not yet been trusted. You may see home in them, because you have not yet fully come home to yourself. This is why the twin flame connection can feel so overwhelming. It is not always because the other person is your destined other half. It is often because they are standing at the doorway of everything within you that wants to be remembered. And when that door opens, it does not open quietly. It can feel like thunder. It can feel like fate. It can feel like madness. It can feel like love so deep that losing it would mean losing yourself. But you must ask, gently and honestly, if losing them feels like losing yourself, where had you placed yourself? Where had your power gone? Where had your peace gone? Where had your identity gone? Where had your life gone while you were waiting for them to return? This is the painful truth many awakened souls eventually face. The connection did not only reveal love. It revealed attachment. It revealed abandonment wounds. It revealed the places where you were still waiting to be chosen. It revealed the part of you that would accept uncertainty, distance, confusion, and emotional hunger, if only it could keep believing that one day, this person would finally arrive as the proof that you were lovable. And that is not something to be ashamed of. That is something to hold with tenderness. Because many sensitive souls have carried the feeling of not being fully seen for a long time. They have loved deeply, but not always been loved deeply in return. They have understood others, but not always been understood. They have felt too much, cared too much, given too much, waited too long. So when a person comes in and seems to see straight through them, even for a moment, the bond can feel eternal. It can feel like, finally, someone knows me. But the deeper healing begins when you realize, maybe I am the one who must know me now. Maybe I am the one who must stop abandoning myself. Maybe I am the one who must stop calling emotional uncertainty a spiritual test. Maybe I am the one who must stop confusing intensity with intimacy. Because intensity can happen between two wounds. Intimacy happens between two honest souls. And there is a very great difference. The runner and chaser pattern is often explained as a sacred phase, but from a healing perspective, it is usually a dance between fear and longing. One person reaches because distance activates their abandonment wound. The other withdraws because closeness activates their fear of being overwhelmed. One says, "Please come closer." The other says, "This is too much." And the more one chases, the more the other runs. This cycle can feel powerful. It can feel addictive. It can feel impossible to stop. But a cycle is not the same as a soul contract. A wound being activated is not the same as love being confirmed. And the person who triggers your deepest pain is not always the person meant to heal it. Sometimes, they are the person who shows you exactly where your healing must begin. If this message is speaking to the part of you that has been silently trying to heal, subscribe to Starlit Union, because here, we untangle love, energy, and awakening without losing ourselves in the process. Now, this is the part that hurts. Because once you begin to see the truth, you cannot comfortably return to the illusion. You may still miss them. You may still feel them. You may still dream of them. You may still hear a song and suddenly feel your heart pulled back into the old story. You may see their name, pass a familiar place, remember one small detail, and for a moment, your whole body may whisper, maybe it is not over. But listen carefully. The return of the feeling does not always mean the return of destiny. Sometimes, It is grief. Sometimes, it is the nervous system remembering an emotional pattern. Sometimes, it is the soul saying, there is still a piece of you attached to what this person represented. And that piece does not need to be punished. It needs to be brought home. This is why healing from a twin flame dynamic is not a straight road. You may understand the lesson one day, and cry over the person the next. You may feel free in the morning, and miss them by night. You may know they were not good for your peace, and still ache for the version of them you believed was hidden underneath their fear. That does not mean you are failing. It means your heart is releasing in layers. The mind can accept the truth quickly. The body takes longer. The soul takes its own sacred time. So do not force yourself to hate them in order to heal. Hatred is still a chain. Bitterness is still a form of attachment. You can honor what the connection awakened, while still refusing to return to what it destroyed. You can say, thank you for the mirror, without standing in front of it forever. You can say, I loved you, without making that love a prison. You can say, this changed me, without calling the chaos my destiny. That is maturity. That is self-return. That is the moment the awakened empath becomes wise. Because wisdom is not the absence of feeling. Wisdom is the ability to feel deeply without surrendering your entire life to the feeling. You can feel the pull, and still choose peace. You can miss them, and still not message them. You can remember the magic, and still remember the pain. You can love someone's soul, and still accept that their human self cannot meet you. This is where the fantasy begins to dissolve. And underneath it, something more beautiful is waiting. Not the fantasy of reunion, but the reality of wholeness. There is a love beyond chaos. There is a love that does not make you beg for clarity. There is a love that does not use distance to keep you hooked. There is a love that does not need to break your heart open again and again just to prove that it is deep. At first, this love may feel unfamiliar. It may feel too calm, too simple, too steady. And if you have been trained by chaos, peace can feel boring at first. If your nervous system has learned that love means anxiety, then consistency may not feel exciting immediately. If you have spent years decoding mixed signals, then honest communication may feel almost strange. But do not mistake peace for lack of passion. Do not mistake safety for shallowness. Do not mistake steadiness for absence of soul. Sometimes the deepest love is not the one that shakes you apart. Sometimes the deepest love is the one that allows you to finally breathe. The one that does not require you to perform. The one that does not make you shrink. The one that does not turn your sensitivity into suffering. The one that meets you in your truth and says, you do not have to abandon yourself to be loved here. That kind of love may not arrive as thunder. It may arrive as presence, as kindness, as emotional responsibility, as someone whose actions and words live in the same place, as someone who does not make you addicted to their absence, as someone who can sit with your depth without using it against you. And by the time you are ready for this kind of love, you will be different. You will not ask, do they trigger me? You will ask, do they meet me? You will not ask, do I feel obsessed? You will ask, do I feel safe to be myself? You will not ask, are they my twin flame? You will ask, does this connection help me become more honest, more peaceful, more whole? That is how your inner compass changes. And this is the true purpose of the journey. Not to wait endlessly for someone else to awaken. Not to suffer until the universe rewards you. Not to prove your loyalty by tolerating emotional starvation. The purpose is to return to yourself so fully that you no longer confuse being wanted with being chosen, or being triggered with being loved, or being haunted with being connected. Because yes, a person can haunt you. A memory can haunt you. A possibility can haunt you. But haunting is not the same as love. Love does not require you to live in the ruins of what could have been. Love does not ask you to stop living while you wait for someone else to understand your worth. The awakened soul eventually says, I can bless this connection, and still leave the pattern. I can honor what it taught me, and still choose something healthier. I can accept that it was real, without making it my forever. And when that moment comes, the energy begins to return. Slowly at first. You start sleeping better. You stop checking for signs so desperately. You stop reading every silence like a secret message. You start feeling your own desires again. You remember your creativity. You remember your body. You remember your voice. You remember the dreams you placed on hold while your heart was orbiting someone else. And one day, you realize. You are not waiting in the same way anymore. The longing may still visit, but it no longer rules you. The memory may still soften you, but it no longer owns you. The love may still exist somewhere in your heart, but it is no longer stronger than your self-respect. That is freedom. Not the freedom of forgetting. The freedom of no longer being controlled by what you remember. So ask yourself now, what did this person awaken in you? Was it courage? Was it passion? Was it sensuality? Was it softness? Was it creativity? Was it the belief that love could be magical? Now ask something deeper. How can I live that quality without waiting for them? How can I become the freedom I saw in them? How can I become the depth I felt with them? How can I become the love I was begging them to give? Because the love you were waiting for was never only coming from them. It was waiting inside the version of you that you had not yet become. And perhaps that is why the connection felt so powerful. Not because you were incomplete without them, but because your soul was trying to show you how much of yourself was still unlived. The person was the spark. But you are the fire. The person was the mirror. But you are the one who must finally step into your own reflection. The person was the doorway. But you are the temple. And once you understand this, you do not need to hate the past. You do not need to erase the connection. You do not need to deny that something sacred moved through it. You simply stop confusing the messenger with the message. The message was always this. Come home. Come home to your body. Come home to your peace. Come home to your voice. Come home to the life you abandoned while waiting for another person to become ready. Come home to the love that does not require self-betrayal. Come home to the truth that you were never half of a soul, begging to be completed. You were always whole, but parts of you were asleep. And now, they are waking up. So if you are in the space between the old story and the new life, be patient with yourself. This space can feel lonely. It can feel like you no longer belong to the chaos, but you have not yet fully arrived in peace. It can feel empty, because the old obsession used to fill so much of your inner world. But emptiness is not always loss. Sometimes emptiness is space. Space for your own energy to return. Space for real love to enter. Space for your soul to breathe without chasing. Space for a future that is not built around waiting. One day, you will look back and understand. The connection did not destroy you. It revealed where you were already hurting. It did not complete you. It showed you where you were still divided. It did not take your power. It showed you where you had given your power away. And now, you are calling it back. Piece by piece. Breath by breath. Choice by choice. This is the journey from twin flame chaos to ancient love. Not ancient because it is old in time, but ancient because it comes from the deepest truth of the soul. A love that is not desperate. A love that is not hungry. A love that does not need to possess. A love that recognizes another without abandoning the self. And before that love can arrive outside you, it must awaken inside you. So take back your light. Take back your longing. Take back the sacred meaning you placed only in their hands. Take back the parts of yourself that were waiting for permission to live. And when love comes again, may it come gently. May it come honestly. May it come without games, without confusion, without disappearing acts disguised as divine timing. May it meet the healed parts of you, not only the wounded ones. May it choose you in actions, not only in energy. May it feel peaceful enough for your nervous system, and deep enough for your soul. And may you recognize it, not because it makes you ache, but because it allows you to finally rest. If this message touched your heart, like this video, and subscribe to Starlit Union for more soul-deep reflections on love, healing, and the journey back to your own light.